just about 5 minutes gone past. Well, it's exactly 5 minutes gone past the hour of 11 o'clock in the morning time. Good morning again to you, our listeners on Classic, SK 105.5 and 105.9 on the FM band. Allow me to say a wonderful good morning to those of you that's joining us on television. That's GBN's channel 7 and 11 and channel 20 if you are in cable. And a special and warm, wonderful Monday morning to you for those of you that's chiming in via our social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and on the World Wide Web at www.gbn.gd. A classic Wednesday, Monday morning greetings to you wherever you are. I want to tell you thanks for being part of this conversation that is just about to take some speed. The anti-tech. And if anybody should just ask, if we were to take the opportunity just to say anti-tech, we probably could gauge how old most people are. Yeah, it's a good opportunity. But if you have no idea who anti-tech is and what the Anti-Tech Spiceworld Festival is about, you in with an opportunity because Doc is in studio from the Cultural Foundation, and he's going to bring us up to speed on the festival, what it seeks to achieve, and exactly where we are as we get ready for it. So the man Livingston Nelson, aka Doc, yeah. Let me ask you, everybody. So you're a doctor of arts, doctor of science. You're a doctor of, well, we know you're a man of the culture. Though. You're a man when it comes to culture, athletics. Where did the name? How you got the name though?
The name Doc actually is my Wiculturian name. It came from Wiculture. I guess because I'm always probably so. For Grenadian term, so frontish.
Oh no! I prefer to say you're well researched.
Well, I do walk through the villages and communities and engage the older folks. So when I'm on the program, right. I song.
No, and that is good.
I song intelligent. I song.
When you say, I don't like when you say song intelligent.
No. Okay. No. I mean, put it outside. I'll joke aside. On the program, I actually go and do my research.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of examination of what's happening in our society. So I'm on the I generally go the
you are prepared,
informed,
well informed.
Yeah,
and you know, and the truth is that's what a real academia should be.
Yeah,
it's not. It goes beyond if what you've gathered in, let's say, a learning and a formal learning institution, because university takes you it gives you that much information. Yeah. It doesn't matter. It takes you that, but it's some information. You literally need to get down on the ground.
Oh yeah.
To be able to connect in the villages, the nannies and the grannies in the villages.
Right.
You would not get at the university.
I mean, there are certain things you read because you have to research historical details, etc. But by and large, based on the topics,
right? There's only one place you could. There's few places.
One library. One library.
They may have closed. One at the time.
Several rooms. So you might go to your own village, go to neighboring villages, but that's where the library are located within the communities, and you talk to the older folks, and you get the information.
And they have a wealth of information.
Oh man!
You may just be surprised. Yes. Anti-Tech was one that had a wealth of information.
Well, she was like a walking library in terms of the Grenadian folklore. So Auntie Thelma Philip born down here in actually the town of St. George, and she was like a walking library in terms of Grenadian folklore. I also learned that she went in several communities in rural Grenada and unearthed some of the stories, again, just like what I am doing.
Right.
So it was not just she had those stories just from her grandparents. She went in several different places and got the various stories from different communities. And so she became an authority on herself as she go about, plying her trade, which is really being one of Grenada's leading folklorists. And because of that stand, she has made.
She left her legacy.
Left a legacy.
Right. She really left a legacy. Now here we are. that we are.
Just one of the things about her, it was not just somebody, you know, if you see, it was not just somebody that stood there and just tell a story. She was dramatic. She dramatized. She was passionate about what she was doing. So whether it's the children listening, I mean, even if one or two words, they probably eludes them, pass over the head, as we would say.
Right.
But they got that passion, that feeling, that demonstration of the story. So she was extremely, extremely good in telling her stories.
And that whole capacity to tell a story, it is part of who we, part of our African heritage.
Part of who we are. We are much more dramatic, we're much more passionate than any other race. Any other race. I mean, no, I'm saying that to say. True. I'm saying that to say because I remember one of those main producers, Hollywood producers. He said, you know, when you get a black actor, you know, you really, really get a treasure. But so I don't want to dwell on that aspect. But I'm just saying. And it is something that we want to do because there are many other anti-tech.
But let's talk about the anti-tech and the Spicewood Festival that we celebrate every year.
Right. So for us this year is actually from today, Monday, on to Friday. So what we are doing, we are really looking at the whole idea. Like this afternoon, we are going to be at the Spice Basket, and you know, the public, if it's not too late, you can plan to come down. It starts from 6 p.m. at the pavilion, or what you may call at the gazebo in Spice Basket. So we have a whole lineup. So that's what we are doing. So this afternoon we are going to be there, and what we are looking at, we have a panelist, you know, with Ali Gale, Mr. Ali Gale, Mistress Gloria Payne Banfield, Ambassador, I think, Ricardo Kings Douglas. We have a young cultural lady named Miss Anika Philip, and then we have a young man, a young author, just 21. Mr. Nathan Hood, and they are going to be looking at anti-tech. So they're going to elaborate a little bit more of that. They're going to look at the Grenadian folklore, our mythologies about the Anansi and the Lajables and the Ligawu and those stories and them. And then they are going to be answering the question, is it still relevant?
And that's a question I was just about to ask you, because those are stories 30, 40 years ago when our seniors were telling us the stories.
Yes, you quit.
But in this modern era, it's as though you tell a child one of those stories and they watching you like, I know my son wanted me, he asked some question he asked me, and I gave him a response, and his response to me was then, you like Daddy, seriously? Just so you expect me to believe that? Yes. And I was trying him, and he eyeballed him and said, he's like, I ain't bang that makes no sense.
Yeah, but you know, the stories ignite the imagination, and it somewhat pleasures, so it has this therapeutic effect, irrespective of. But also, I think stories also take a new form, and part of what we had in stories was to get you in line.
Right.
Sometimes it was just the morale that was passed on through the stories, you know. So you look at the stories and you actually look at people's and the character, even when it was exaggerated. It helped you to discern good from evil, because we usually had a greedy, a jealous, an evil, or a good character.
So it spoke to issues of morality.
Of morality, and about you building your character. So even when it is exaggerated, you know, certain things couldn't happen. But about how do you protect society? How do you So the story has its place. I would say that. I don't know what the panelists would say this afternoon. But again, part of what we have and I think we are on the same kind of page in terms of age. I probably might be a 2 year older than you, but
I'm 16. Oh,
that's why I just bust into it. Yeah, so I'm just saying, but the method we used to use is no longer applicable. You can't get children under the moonlight, except a special project, and have them sitting down with their grandparents, etc., and listening. But now our same stories can take new form.
And the morals, the the morals of those stories of
Yeah, the
times
lessons, yeah.
past. It remains as part of who we
never
are.
change,
The issues of truth, being gracious, being not being greedy, they remain part of our facets of society.
Of course.
So while the format in which we may tell those stories, it has evolved.
Well,
Those virtues,
Remain.
the virtues remain.
Yes, and so it is very important. And again, what happened is that children learn a lot more by having what I call an exaggerated storyline.
Right.
So if I'm just walking down the road, and that is nice, you know. I say, well, Joseph, I'm walking down the road and I met this group of people, and they were asking me about, say, anti-tech. That's nice. But if I had that exaggerate, I was walking on the road and bow, I see a little fly by, and while the was flying, it mentioned anti-tech. Something to that effect. This exaggerated truth would lighten up and stay in your memory more than something that is totally, or something you don't have to question. So the story has its role in thing, and one of the things we recognize, the story also has a way we could use it in terms of talking and teaching,
Right.
or history. We could use it to
But
to
in English,
academic.
in literature,
Yeah.
because let's say, for example, the exaggeration.
Uh-huh.
So they will ask you in language, what is an exaggeration, right? So if you're exaggerating, one could be a case where it's either there's hyperbole, one where you overtell the story,
Yeah.
and one where you undertell the story, and then you may find the similes and the metaphors.
Of course.
So literally, you can take the storytelling aspect, and you can give it to a secondary school student, and they can draw from it.
Of course.
They can, in fact, draw from it. So it is still part of our society, and
It's part, and it plays an important role. So this afternoon we are having this at the Spice Basket 6 p.m. as I said. But we have already also sent out the theme this year is Echoes of Our History and Culture, and then that is what we celebrated. But we have also sent out to the primary and secondary, tertiary schools like TAMCC a story writing competition, and so we have now had about 20, or I guess close to 20 respondents looking at the Grenadian culture and,
Right.
and things like that. So that is taking place right now. We also have ongoing authors. We are in collaboration with Grenada Published Authors Inc. Authors, they too are going in the school and reading excerpts from the book
Right.
as part of the celebration of the spoken and written word, but by Grenadian authors. Read every book, read as many books as you can, but we want you to have an appreciation for to support our local authors. They would tell you about the kite flying and about mango picking and about the marble,
Right.
and about things that are happening here in Grenada. So it's important that you learn as much as possible about our history, our culture. So we also want you to support them in one way. So that is ongoing. We have poets and storytellers that are also going to some selected schools from today and throughout the week, telling, engaging the young minds. So apart from the competition in schools, that is ongoing throughout the storytelling, we have authors and also going into the schools as are ongoing throughout the week. Today we have the round table at the Spice Basket. Wednesday we have an excellent opportunity for the secondary school children in Grenada throughout.
right.
Ricardo Kings Douglas would be in Carriacou, and Ricardo again is like an anti-tech. He's passionate. If you just listen to Ricardo talking in a normal way, he's almost like he's always telling a story. He's always passionate about what he's doing and how he speaks. So we have Ricardo that would be in Carriacou on Wednesday, doing that sort of storytelling exercises, etc. with the students in Carriacou. And then we have the Labukan Creative Center in Grenada. They would be at the Grenville Cinema, and all the secondary schools in Grenada are invited to send a contingent.
As a cultural foundation, are you in any way, form or fashion concerned that we are losing that aspect of our culture, that there is one generation that has a pretty decent idea and they hold on to it? Like I keep saying, God forbid the day we lose you just left my head.
A playwright, an artist,
historian, unionist. She's going to be on with you. I think you mentioned her name. Banfield.
European Banfield.
Yeah, and I always say that. I say that to her. God forbid that the day that she transitions.
I wanted to ask you a question.
Have we ever documented?
I wanted to ask you a question, but then I guess you beat me to it. And as it relates to Mistress Gloria Payne Banfield, Grenada don't know the treasure we have in Mistress Gloria Payne Banfield.
We have no idea.
She has not been, and I use the word carefully, but you would understand, we have not used her, taking advantage of her wealth, not just in the cultural field. She is someone I speak to every now and then, but in the political arena, in all this, Mistress Gloria Banfield is a walking library.
And I think we need to give her flowers while she's alive by extrapolate from her that resource, that wealth of knowledge.
Yes,
that she has.
Right, and it's unfortunate that someone, and even if someone was do her autobiography, it's just not enough because. Would you go? I have used the one, spoken to her, and she has sometimes some information, grassroots political, hardcore political information, and up to today it impacts my mind and my thinking. How I see things.
I've had some conversations with her, and in most occasions it's around, let's say, probably independence. That's naturally around the time she comes into mind.
Yeah.
But when you sit and have a conversation with her, you realize the woman that she could take up, remove independence, and you can have a conversation with her about life, living, everything,
about the role of women in politics, about her interaction with the rural community. And mind you, she just like Miss Thelma Phillick went out. For matter of fact, she spent a couple of years well enough in Gambra, living in Gambra and interacting. And she could talk about carnival and the evolution that she has seen in her time. Anyway, so folks, to get a glimpse of Miss Gloria Payne Banfield,
you want to make sure
come to the Spice Basket this afternoon to hear her as she unfolds and her own view and opinion, looking at our folklore. And hear her views as it relates to if it still has relevance in this present time.
Well, I'm not sure. I shouldn't say I'm not sure. I wouldn't be at the forum, but I can safely tell you the answer. If I would have to answer unequivocally, no ambiguity to it, the answer is yes.
Right.
It is yes, because the very elements of who we are, the way we tell stories. I remember I always say to my son, express yourself.
Mm-hmm.
From a little boy. Mm-hmm. Express yourself. Use your words. Tell me. Mm-hmm. I said, it's a story. Whatever it is, when you're writing, it's a story you're telling, and you want to be able to make that story as colorful and as glamorous as possible. So I think Grenadians, it's a treat this evening. It would be unfortunate that if they miss a treat this evening.
They would miss it. For you that are living extremely far and you can't make it, tune into GIS. We are going to be bringing it live to you. So tune into GIS at 6 p.m. with the Grenada Cultural Foundation.
Nice.
We are going to be bringing it live to you, and it's important that you stay tuned to that because it's important. People talk about the Grenadian. I know we have not completed the program, and I should find out how long I have here. But people talk about the Grenadian, our soca, our calypso. What is the power of it? You listen to the storytelling in our soca. You know that is what is captivating the world. Still, that aspect of our storytelling. It's not about legal one larger, but it's about the art of telling a story. This guy, the one in Carrick, I just forget his name sometime. That sang about saltfish. The Rasta, he has this big hit. He's a kayak. about he took the phone and he read the message and he Skinny Banton.
Skinny.
Skinny Banton is a storyteller.
It is a
when
story.
you listen to his songs,
Yes.
he's telling a story.
He's telling a story.
You understand? So he take you from one point to the next, and you hear his story. And you know, so you understand what he's saying. He's not just singing about jump and weave and whine and thing. There is a story.
There is a story.
And that is the power. If you learn to listen and to tell your story and to write what is in your inside, then that is what's going to make you a much more powerful person. That is what our soca, our calypso is all about.
And our politicians, because the idea of storytelling is it builds on your ability to communicate. Yeah, and it's an art. Being able to communicate is not just opening your mouth and speak, but understanding the audience, what you're saying to them, and giving them in a language that they totally understand. And very often we talk about the culture and Kaiso and all that, we talk about the use of the wit and satire, and being able to master the language. Yeah, Sparrow and those guys, they did it.
But no, we do have a lot of good storytellers, particularly in the calypso. The calypso is about telling your story.
It's telling a story.
Yes, so the better you are in telling a story is, the better you. And just to think, as I said, you never tell me how long I have with you, not joking.
I've actually given you 10 minutes extra.
Okay, good. So let me see how much I can go. So on Thursday now, we have an opportunity for you to come and tell your story. It's called an open mic night.
Right.
So it's an open mic night. You walk in, sit down, you indicate you want to tell your story.
Do I go Tim?
Yeah, all right. Or you want to read a short excerpt from your book.
Right.
You have a poem. You have a calypso. You want to talk your own calypso. Come at the gazebo Spice Basket and tell your story. So that is an open mic night. It is open to the public. Also, we are going to be having some of the winners in some of the competition. Their story would be read. So we're hoping that you come and plan to take no more than 3 minutes, because we expect a good number of persons to come and read and tell their stories. And if you don't have a story, just come and be entertained.
Come and be entertained.
Yes.
And when you asked me about, and for those who probably, because I would not be there, and when I asked about the turnout, you go, say, watch it. He had people like rain. Interesting people.
People like sun.
People like sun. And it all comes back to that ability, telling a story, being able to communicate. Grenada, you must. You want to make sure, again, remind us, what is it today? So where are we?
So we're going through the program. We have 2 minutes, or we have
I give it 2 minutes.
Okay, so we have so today we are going to be at the Spice Basket. We have this roundtable discussion. We invite you to come all. That's for the public. On Wednesday, throughout the week, they are going to be having activities in the schools, various schools, but we're inviting those secondary schools that not conform the Cultural Foundation. At Wednesday, we are going to be at the Deluxe Cinema Grenville, and in Carriacou, the Mermaid, for those in Carriacou. Thursday, we have the open mic night. So walk in and come and listen or come and tell your own story. And on Friday, we are all there in the various parish-based organizations. So we are going to be having, like CEDU. They have their own activities. Contact CEDU. Actually, River Sally is doing something also. The people of River Sally are doing something on the Saturday, just the day after. In St. John's, they're having some activities there too, at dramas or workshop. In St. Paul's on Friday night. So again, people in St. George, go to the St. Paul's community center around that area on the court. They would be having bonfire and different things happening again. So throughout, they are going to be having activities from the various parishes as they celebrate Anti-Tech Spice World Festival.
But the celebration starts this evening inside of the Spice Basket. You don't want to miss it. Go in there, hear from the experts, and ask. Come with your questions. I know you're always going to have questions. And have we lost our way when it comes to the culture? You probably might be thinking, maybe in some regards, yes. I'll normally ask the question whether or not children that grew up in the 60s or 70s, whether or not we had more fun than children that's growing up
now.
No. I don't know. What say you? Who's having more fun? We had more fun, or they having more fun?
I think we
now?
had more fun because, to me, fun had a lot to do more with community and socialization. We had some rough time. Had to go and, for want of the Grenadian word, we had to jog water, carry wood, etc. We had to bathe in the river.
It made us
tough and hard,
yes,
etc. We walked barefooted. We get joked with needles and bottles, etc. But we had that sense of community. Our auntie, our grandparents, the neighbor cared for you. We could laugh, etc., play ring games whole day and do these things. Well, now children are more individualistic, more locked up. They don't have the they have shoes, they have slippers, they have TV, they have more things at their disposal.
Sometimes it seems as though they lack that coping mechanism.
They lack that coping because they never were cheated from when they playing rondas or skip with the ladies, or they didn't socialize.
But you know what is interesting though? I ask you because I know the response would be for most individuals. But the longer and harder I think about it, I keep saying maybe not. We enjoyed what was available to us back then. They are enjoying what's available to them now, and you might be surprised 30 years from now, when they are giving the stories to their children, they might be saying, listen, we had so much fun. We had our tablets, we had our this, and we had our that. And then their children, in let's say 2050, will be asking them, Mommy, what's wrong with you? Nobody's doing that anymore.
No, I answered the question very mindful of the fact that the previous generation to our generation thought that we were spoiled.
So it is interesting.
Yes, they thought that they had the better lifestyle and we were playing the fool.
And look now, we
now
are thinking that our children, they are playing the fool. There's nothing new under the sun.
But I think we had a better coping mechanism because we were cheated, etc. in games, cricket. Sometimes you have a ball, you take your ball, you go. Sometimes are old, I don't want to give up. So we had to cope. But now I think children has less of a coping mechanism and less in terms of attention span. So I think it weighs all, but whether they're happier now than us, it is difficult to measure.
It's difficult to say. But it's going to be one of those timeless conversations, whether or not. And these kids, they tell you now, they are happy. They sit in front of their devices, them alone, and they are happy. It's a give and take. Maybe
that is a nice topic for we culture.
Maybe they have lost some of what we grew up with, and they're thinking, child, Mister, I have my computer, I buy alone. They live in a virtual world where they have everything. It is a conversation that we definitely need to have.
So Joseph, like your son, say, so Daddy, for real?
Yeah. he look at
like
me.
you're bringing back this thing that is so old time, old fashioned.
It's like Daddy. He watched me like for real? You expect me to believe that?
Right.
You expect me to believe? You would ask a 5-year-old this where babies come from, and you cannot dare tell them nothing but drop them. They come on the plane. But folks, it's all part of who we are, our way of life. The Anti-Tech Spice World Festival commences this week. It is this week, in fact, and it kicks off this evening instead of the Spice Basket. You want to go in there, join Doc and the rest of the team, Livingston Nelson, and be part of that conversation. Yes, but this is as far as we are. We didn't have television back then, and if we had television, it was by Mr. What's his name? And he was the more affluent one in the society, and it had to be black and white. And one had to watch, and we had to go tell the others. Now everybody have a TV in their house. We telling people now.
One?
We telling them now to log in on social media and based on where they are. You see what? what?
Yes.
It's just part of the evolution. Until then, so long, everybody. My name at the top of the hour. That's at 12 o'clock. It's going to be the luncheon edition, a production of our news and current affairs department. Until then, JC loves you. Have yourself a really, 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 really great one. And go and tell a story.
Yes.
Tell a story to one of your kids. You tell them a story, they tell you a story, and see how both story pans out. Until then, so long.